I think that there is a lot to investigate, and I'm personally very grateful that somebody of the stature of Robert Mueller would be there conducting this investigation. There's a lot of smoke, and whether or not there's fire, we need to figure it out. They interfered, and they did so to help him and hurt me.
Other experts are now saying that the Russians are releasing these emails for the purpose of actually helping Donald Trump.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
Okay, that was Hillary Clinton, her 2016 campaign manager, Robbie Mook, and DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz pushing the Trump-Russia sham. But now newly declassified documents from the Durham Annex show not just that Hillary Clinton personally approved the plan to manufacture Trump-Russia to sabotage Trump. It is now about Hillary Clinton purposely doing this to distract from reports in the investigation into whether Clinton Foundation donors got preferential access to Hillary Clinton as Obama's Secretary of State. Joining us now from House Judiciary, former chairman of House Oversight under the Obama administration. During that, Congressman Darrell Issa. Congressman, it's good to see you again. Let's please go through it. The declassified documents show Democrats, including DNC Chair Wasserman Schultz, were upset about the FBI at the time investigating why Hillary Clinton deleted 30,000 emails from her private email server in Chappaqua, New York. The AP, the Associated Press, Congressman, reported in 2016 that more than half of the non-government individuals who met with Hillary Clinton as Obama's Secretary of State had given to the Clinton Foundation. There was pushback on the AP. There's no proof that Hillary did any action to satisfy those donors. But what do you make of all this, pulling it all together?
Well, sadly, not since the Watergate scandal, or maybe before that, Liz, have we ever had such a plan. In this case, a plan to accuse your opponent of that which you are doing, which is weaponizing government in a way that hurts him before and after the election. And it was brilliant because it stayed a secret this long. Okay, so Chairman Senator Chuck Grassley, he calls this one of the biggest political scandals and cover-ups in American history. This is about the Obama White House launching the dangerous politicization of intelligence to go after Trump. And the documents also indicate President Barack Obama did not want the Hillary email controversy and the controversy around the Clinton Foundation to ruin his legacy. So how do you stop this in the future? It's going to be tough. For the 4 years that President Obama was still president, but Hillary Clinton was essentially on the campaign trail, he thwarted legitimate oversight, pushed back, kept things classified, did everything he could, in addition to Hillary Clinton's legal defenses about what she had illegally done, that we all knew she had illegally done, which is to not use government email, not turn them in, but in fact make them separate. But, Liz, there were double standards throughout that process, and some of them cannot be tolerated in the future. You can't have private lawyers decide what is going to be turned over on a subpoena the way it was. You can't have Hillary Clinton after the fact saying, well, some of that's personal, so I'll tell you what you get. No. And quite frankly, we have to have zero tolerance for the kind of activity of weaponizing government that President Obama clearly was part of, but Hillary Clinton's campaign led. He knew it. That makes both of them conspirators in the greatest political attempt to thwart an election in our lifetime, which was 2016. And then afterwards, throughout 2017, 18, 19, 20, it continued to tarnish a presidency that didn't deserve to be tarnished. There was no Russiagate, but they kept pushing it throughout his entire 4 years. You know, Congressman, it's interesting. Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Barack Obama, none of them, James Comey, none of them are specifically denying the content, the specific details of what is in the Durham Annex and in these memos and emails. The Durham report also says that Biden's top aide, Jake Sullivan, could not recall anyone articulating a strategy or plan to distract attention away from Clinton, but he could not rule out the possibility that Hillary Clinton did concoct and came up with Trump-Russia. And the Mueller report found there was no collusion or conspiracy between Russia and the Trump campaign to help Trump win in 2016. Well, and that's exactly the case. There was no there, but they made it and tried to stop him. And then the reward 4 years later for this continued hoax about a hoax was, in fact, people like Jake Sullivan getting another 4 years in the White House, leading to secondary disasters such as the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Congressman, we want you to please stick around. We want you to please listen to this.
Did you tell him that the Steele dossier had been financed by his political opponents?
No, I didn't even think I used the term Steele dossier. I just talked about additional material.
But did he have a right to know that?
That had been financed by his political opponents? I don't know the answer to that. It wasn't necessary for my goal, which was to alert him that we had this information.
Okay, that was former FBI Director James Comey, not really making a lot of sense there, telling ABC's George Stephanopoulos in 2018 he didn't think it was necessary to tell Donald Trump that the Hillary campaign and the DNC had funded and paid for the debunked, discredited Steele dossier that was used to go after Trump with Trump Russia. Congressman, talk to us about this. He didn't think it was necessary to tell Donald Trump that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC paid for it, but then the FBI used that same Steele dossier as grounds to get FISA wiretaps to spy on the Trump campaign, including Carter Page.
Well, this is the reason that Chairman Jordan, myself, and others have been trying to get further reforms in FISA, and we'll try again in a matter of a few months. And the reason is that, in fact, both the CIA and the FBI, working in collusion, have consistently been able to play what I call it's in the bag, sir. And what I mean by that is they will tell you something and then say, well, I briefed people on that. What they briefed you on was some words, but they didn't show you everything that was in the bag. And you, of course, couldn't ask all the right questions to get them to remove it. And that's been the hide the truth in a lot of areas. It's one of the reasons that Americans need to demand further FISA reform so that this secrecy, even from the President of the United States, never happens again.
You know, the New York Times is trying to say that this declassified Durham Annex is loaded with Russian disinformation. They're saying it's possible, it could be. There is no definitive proof that this happened there. It does show the FBI was aware of Hillary's plan to tie Trump to Russia months before the FBI launched its Crossfire Hurricane probe, and that in August 2016, what do you make of this? That former CIA Director John Brennan briefed President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, James Clapper, and James Comey about Hillary Clinton approving the, quote, use of this plan by her foreign policy advisor to vilify Trump with Trump Russia. The Clinton campaign's plan was to get everybody to leak it to the U.S. media.
Well, and they succeeded because the U.S. media wanted it. You know, one of the reasons that this has worked is organizations like the New York Times have been perfectly willing to say, well, that's doubtful. That could be Russian. Even now, as people are saying, this could be Russian misinformation in the Durham report. Basically, if you go along with what Hillary wants, which is it's Trump, then it's factual. If for any reason you're looking at this actual conspiracy, pretty darn well documented, well, then it's misinformation. This is, unfortunately, the hand in the cookie jar and people denying that there's cookies or even a cookie jar. We've got the smoking gun, to use another metaphor, and it's time to actually both hold people accountable and make real changes in the law to make sure this can never happen again.
Congressman Darrell Issa, thank you so much. It's good to see you again.